Hello, my friends. Welcome back. We're going to look at some more of the letters, selected letters from D.H. Lawrence, and we're going to read 10 of these together as we continue. There are 100 letters in this book, each written by David Herbert Lawrence to different friends and long-time correspondents, and we see a transition in his character and his experience of life and success as a writer as we go through these letters. Letter 71 to J. M. Murray. Del Monte Ranch, Cuesta, New Mexico, United States of America. 2nd February 1923. Dear Jack, I got your note just now via Cot about Catherine. Yes, it is something gone out of our lives. We thought of her, I can tell you, at Wellington. Did Otterline ever send on the card to Catherine I posted from there for her? Yes, I always knew a bond in my heart. Feel a fear where the bond is broken now. Feel as if old moorings were breaking all. What is going to happen to us all? Perhaps it is a good time for Catherine not to have to see the next phase. We will unite up again when I come to England. It has been a savage enough pilgrimage these last 4 years. Perhaps Kay has taken the only way for her. We keep faith. I always feel death only strengthens that, the faith between those who have it. Still, it makes me afraid, as if worse were coming. I feel like the Sicilians. They always cry for help from their dead. We shall have to cry to ours. We do cry. I wrote to you to Adelphi Terrace the day after I got your letter and asked Setzer to send you Fantasia of the Unconscious. I wanted Catherine to read it. She'll know, though. The dead don't die. They look on and help. But in America one feels as if everything would die, and that is terrible. I wish it needn't all have been as it has been. I do wish it. D.H.L. Letter 72 to Witter Binner, Navajoa, Sonora, 5 October 1923. Dear Binner, here I am wandering slowly and hotly with Gertrude down this west coast. Where F is, I don't know. This west is much wilder, emptier, more hopeless than Chapala. It makes one feel the door is shut on one. There is a blazing sun, a vast hot sky, big, lonely, inhuman green hills and mountains, a flat, blazing littoral with a few palms, sometimes a dark blue sea which is not quite of this earth. Then little towns that seem to be slipping down an abyss, and the door of life shut on it all, only the sun burning, the clouds of birds passing, the zopilotes like flies, the lost, lonely palm trees, the deep dust of the roads, the donkeys moving in a gold dust cloud. In the mountains, lost, motionless silver mines. Alamos, a once lovely little town, lost and slipping down the gulf in the mountains, 40 miles up the awfulest road I've ever been bruised along. But somehow or other you get there, and more wonderful, you get out again. There seems a sentence of extinction written over it all. In the middle of the little covered market at Alamos, between the meat and the vegetables, a dead dog lay stretched as if asleep. The meat vendor said to the vegetable man, "You better throw it out." The veg man looked at the dead dog and saw no reason for throwing it out. So no doubt it lies there still. We went also to haciendas. A cattle hacienda, wild, wheeled, brutal with a devastating brutality. Many of the haciendas are in the hands of the Chinese, who run about like vermin down this coast. So there we are. I think when we get to Mazatlan we shall take the boat down to Manzanillo and so to Guadalajara. It is better there. At least there is not a dead dog in mid-market. Write me a line, care Dr. Purnell. I am a bad correspondent. Write to F. Care Seltzer. She may be in America again by now. There is a circus and lions roaring all night. This town is a busy new adobe nowhere under a flat sun of brass. The old town was washed out in 1915. I have letters of introduction to people this way, and so see what it's like. Greet the Spoodle, tell him to send me a line, and don't take any notice of my intermittency. D. H. Lawrence. Letter 73. To Witter Bina, 110 Heath Street, Hampstead, NW3. 7 December 1923. Dear Bina, here I am, London, gloom, yellow air, bad cold, bed, old house, Morris wallpaper, visitors, English voices, tea in old cups. Poor DHL perfectly miserable, as if he was in his tomb. You don't need his advice, so take it. Never come to Europe any more. In a fortnight I intend to go to Paris, then to Spain, and in the early spring I hope to be back on the western continent. I wish I was in Santa Fe at this moment. As it is, for my sins and Frida's, I am in London. I only hope Mexico will stop revoluting. De Profundis, D.H.L. Letter 74 to Catherine Carswell. Del Monte Ranch, Cuesta, New Mexico. 18 May 1924. My dear Catherine, we have often spoken of you lately, and I wonder what you are doing. We had your letter about your cottage and Don's job. That was mean to take the job back again. You do have bad luck. Did I tell you Mabel Luhan gave Frida that little ranch, about 160 acres, up here in the skirts of the mountains? We have been up there the last fortnight working like the devil with 3 Indians and a Mexican carpenter, building up the 3-room log cabin which was falling down. We've done all the building save the chimney, and we've made the adobe bricks for that. I hope in the coming week to finish everything, shingling the roofs of the other cabins too. There are 2 log cabins, a 3-roomer for us, a 2-roomer Mabel can have when she comes, a little 1-roomer for Brett, and a nice log hay house and corral. We have 4 horses in the clearing. It is very wild, with the pine trees coming down the mountain, and the altitude, 8,600 feet, takes a bit of getting used to, but it is also very fine. Now it is our own, so we can invite you to come. I hope you'll scrape the money together and come for a whole summer, perhaps next year, and try it. Anyway, it would make a break, and there is something in looking out onto a new landscape altogether. I think we shall stay till October, and then go down to Mexico, where I must work at my novel. At present I don't write, don't want to, don't care. Things are all far away. I haven't seen a newspaper for 2 months and can't bear to think of one. The world as it is. I am as I am. We don't fit very well. I will never forget that fatal evening at the Café Royal. That is what coming home's to me. Never again, pray the Lord. We rode down here, Brett and I. Frida, lazy, came in the car. The spring down in the valley is so lovely. The wild plum everywhere white like snow. The cottonwood trees all tender, plummy green like happy ghosts, and the alfalfa fields a heavy, dense green. Such a change in 2 weeks. The apple orchards suddenly in bloom, only the grey desert the same. Now there is a thunderstorm, and I think of my adobes out there at the ranch. We ride back tomorrow. One doesn't talk any more about being happy. That is child's talk. But I do like having the big, unbroken spaces around me. There is something savage, unbreakable in the spirit of the place out here. The Indians drumming and yelling at our campfire at evening. But they'll be wiped out too, I expect. Schools and education will finish them, but not before the world falls. Remember me to Don. Save up and enjoy your cottage meanwhile. Yours, D.H.L. Letter 75 to J. M. Murray, Del Monte Ranch, Cuesta, New Mexico, 3rd October 1924. Dear Jack, we had your letter. I'm glad you have a good time on the Dorset coast with Violet, but don't you become the mossy stone unless, of course, you want to. And perhaps you will find fulfillment in a baby. Myself, I am not for postponing to the next generation, and so ad infinitum. Frida says every woman hopes her baby will become the Messiah. It takes a man, not a baby. I'm afraid there'll be no more. Sans savieur. One was almost too much, in my opinion. I'm glad you like the Hopi dance article. All races have one root once one gets there. Many stems from one root. The stems never to commingle or understand one another. I agree Forster doesn't understand his Hindu. And India to him is just negative because he doesn't go down to the root to meet it. But the passage to India interested me very much. At least the repudiation of our white bunk is genuine, sincere, and pretty thorough, it seems to me. Negative, yes. But King Charles must have his head off. Homage to the headsman. We are leaving here next week. There was a flurry of wild snow in the air yesterday, and the nights are icy. But now, at 10 o'clock in the morning, to look across the desert at the mountains, you'd think June morning was shining. Frida is washing the porch. Brett is probably stalking a rabbit with a 22 gun. I am looking out the kitchen door at the far blue mountains and the gap, the tiny gate that leads down into the canyon and away to Santa Fe. And in 10 days' time we shall be going south to Mexico. The air, the high, thin air, gets my chest, bronchially. It's very good for the lungs, but fierce for tender bronchi. We shall never drop in on one another again. The ways go wild apart. Sometimes I regret that you didn't take me at what I am last Christmas, and come here and take a different footing. But apparently you did what was in you, and I what is in me. I do it. As for X, there is just nothing to say. It is absurd, but there it is. The ultimate son of Moses pining for heavy tablets. I believe the old Moses wouldn't have valued the round everybody's neck. It's just Hebraic. And now the tablets are to be papier-mâché. Fui, carito, it's all bunk. Heavy, uninspired bunk. Celosilla. Kangaroo was never. Frida was on the wrong track, and now is sodden. Despedida eran fuentes de dolores. The country here is very lovely at the moment. Aspens high on the mountains like a fleece of gold. Où est-il, Jason? The scrub oak is dark red, and the wild birds are coming down to the desert. It is time to go. It's time to go south. Did I tell you my father died on September 10th, the day before my birthday? The autumn always gets me badly as it breaks into colours. I want to go south, where there is no autumn, where the cold doesn't crouch over one like a snow leopard waiting to pounce. The heart of the north is dead, and the fingers of cold are corpse fingers. There is no more hope northwards, and the salt of its inspiration is the tingling of the viaticum on the tongue. Sounds as if I was imitating an oceanic lament. You can get me in Mexico, care of the British Consulate, Avenida Madero 1, Mexico, DF. But I want to go south again to Oaxaca, to the Zapotecas and the Maya. Quien sabe si se puede. Adios. D.H.L. Letter 76 to J. M. Murray. Hotel Francia, Oaxaca, Mexico, 15th November 1924. Dear Jack, We've been down here a week now, wiggled for 2 days on a little railway through the lonely, forbidding country. It's only 240 miles south of Mexico City at that. Oaxaca, you pronounce it Oaxaca, is a little town, about 30,000, in a wide valley with mountains round. Lonely and a bit lost. It's not far from both coasts, but there's no railway. You can ride in 4 or 5 days either to the Pacific or the Atlantic if you don't get shot. The country is always unsettled. They've spread such an absurd sort of socialism everywhere. And these little Zapotec Indians are quite fierce. I called on the governor of the state, in the palace. He's an Indian from the hills, but like a little Mexican lawyer. Quite nice. Only it's all just crazy. Tomorrow he asked me to go out in the opening of a road into the hills. The road isn't begun yet, that's why we open it. And during the picnic, of course, he may get shot. It's the chief market today. Such a babble and a hubbub of unwashed wild people. Heaps of roses and hibiscus flowers, blankets, very nice wild pottery, calves, birds, vegetables, and awful things to eat, including squashed fried locust beetles. F and I bought pots and blankets. We shall move into a house next week and are collecting bits of furniture from various people. It's the house of an Englishman who was born here and who is a priest in the cathedral chapter. Honor Dorothy Brett will stay on in the hotel. The proprietress is Spanish and very nice. But everything is so shaky and really so confused. The Indians are queer little savages, and awful agitators pump bits of socialism over them and make everything just a mess. It's really a sort of chaos, and I suppose American intervention will become inevitable. You know socialism is a dud. It makes just a mush of people, and especially of savages. And 70% of these people are real savages, quite as much as they were 300 years ago. The Spanish-Mexican population just rots on top of the black savage mass. And socialism here is a farce of farces, except very dangerous. Well, I shall try and finish my Quetzalcoatl novel this winter and see what comes of it. The world gives me the gruesomes, the more I see of it. That is the world of people. This country is so lovely. The sky is perfect, blue and hot every day, and flowers rapidly following flowers. They are cutting the sugar cane and hauling it in the old ox wagons slowly. But the grass slopes are already dry and fawn-coloured. The unventured hills are already like an illusion, standing round inhuman. No mail here yet. Let us know how you all are. DHL. This address is good. Letter 77 to Catherine Carswell. Del Monte Ranch, Cuesta, New Mexico, 20th June 1925. My dear Catherine, I was so ill down in Mexico, in Oaxaca, with malaria, flu, and tropical fever. I thought I'd never see daylight. So everything slipped. But we got back here about 10 weeks ago, and I am beginning to be myself again. But it was no joke. As far as prosperity goes, I have left Seltzer, who hangs like a creaking gate, long, and gone to Knopf, who is a better businessman. But of course I still have to live on what is squeezed out of poor Seltzer. We have been busy here. Brought a stream of water from the Gallina Canyon, about 2 miles, to irrigate the field. But it's so dry for all that, the water just disappears. We have a black cow who I milk every morning and evening, and Frida collects the eggs, about 8 a day from the 11 hens. Frida's nephew, Friedel Jaffe, is staying the summer with us. He helps. He had an Indian and wife to do for us, till last week. Then we sent them away. Savages are a burden. So a Mexican boy comes up to help, and even him one has to pay $2 a day, supposed to be very cheap labour. Lovely to think of cherry trees in bloom. Here the country is too savage somehow for such softness. I get a bit of Heimweh for Europe. We shall come in the autumn, DV, and winter somewhere warm. Who is the other boy you have with you? One of Goldring's boys? I don't know. Glad you liked St. Maur. In Mexico, I finished my Mexican novel. It's very different, but I think most of it. Pity you don't do any writing. All good wishes from us both to you and the boy and Don. Yours, D.H. Lawrence. Letter 78 to J. M. Murray. Via Bernardo, Spotorno, Pro di Genova, 4th of January 1926. Dear Jack, à la guerre comme à la guerre. Make up your mind to change your ways and call the baby Benvenuto. My dear Jack, it's no good. All you can do now, sanely, is to leave off. À la vie comme à la vie. What a man has got to say is never more than relatively important. To kill yourself like Keats for what you've got to say is to mix the eggshell in with the omelette. That's Keats's poems to me. The very excess of beauty is the eggshell between one's teeth. Carino basta, carito, deja, la canzone cheto. Cheto, zito, 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 basta la mossa. In short, shut up. Throw the Adelphi to the devil. Throw your own say after it. Say goodbye to J. M. M. Filius Meus, Salvatore di nessuno se non nisi testo. And my dear fellow, give it up. As for your humble, he says his say in bits, and pitches it as far from him as he can. And even then it's sometimes a boomerang. Ach, du lieber Augustin, Augustin, Augustin. I don't care a straw who publishes me and who doesn't, nor where, nor how, nor when, nor why. I'll contrive, if I can, to get it money to live on. But I don't take myself seriously, except between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. and at the stroke of midnight. At other seasons, my say, like any butterfly, may settle where it likes, on the lily of the field, or the horse-tod in the road, or nowhere. It has departed from me. My dear chap, people don't want the one-man show of you alone, nor the Punch and Judy show of you and me. Why, oh why, try to ram yourself down people's throats? Offer them a tasty titbit, and if they give you £5, have a drink on it. No, I'm 40, and I want, in a good sense, to enjoy my life. Saying my say and seeing other people sup it up doesn't amount to a hill of beans. As far as I go, I want to waste no time over it. That's why I have an agent. I want my own life to live. This is my body, keep your hands off. Earn a bit of money journalistically and kick your heels. You've perhaps got JMM on the brain even more seriously than JC. Don't you remember, we used to talk about having a little ship? The Mediterranean is glittering blue today. Bah, that one should be a mountain of mere words. Heave-o, my boy, get out of it. D.H.L. Letter 79 to the Honorary Dorothy Brett. Via Bernardo, Spotorno, Genova, 2nd February 1926. Dear Brett, I got the whole of Glad Ghosts and have sent it off, but they'll never find a magazine to print it. They wrote that even Sun was too pagan for anything but a highbrow review. Fools. You are right. The London group are absolutely no good. Murray wrote asking me to define my position. The cheek! It's soon done with regard to him. Pour moi, vous n'existez pas, mon cher. It's beastly weather, cold and rainy, and all the almond blossom coming out in the chill. My sister arrives this day week, Tuesday, in Turin. I shall go up there to meet her. She stays 2 weeks, and I hope we shall get a trip to Florence and Pisa. And I pray heaven the weather may be different. What are your plans? Ours are very indefinite. I don't feel like going back to America. I love the ranch, but I feel a revulsion from America, from going west. I am even learning a bit of Russian to go to Russia, though whether that will really come off, I don't know. We might keep this house on till April, but I simply don't know what I shall do. I wish I wanted to go to the ranch again, but I don't. Not now. I just don't. The only thing is to wait a bit. I've left off writing now. I'm awfully sick of writing. But now Frida is at it, wildly translating the David play into German. She's even done it half. I wonder if it would be a great nuisance to you to post me my typewriter. F's daughter Elsa is a trained typist and knows enough German to type out this manuscript from Frida's rather muddled books. I tried to hire a typewriter in the village, but without success so far. But if you think it's not safe to post mine, or a lot of trouble, don't bother and we'll try and get one, just for this job, from Savona. F's daughter Elsa is arriving next week also, but staying in the little Hotel Ligure while my sister is here. If we go to Florence, you might have to run up a trip while we are there, but then if you were going to England later on, it's a waste to come now. And we really might make a trip to Capri in March. It all depends on your plans for returning to the ranch. I send a couple of snapshots. Rena Secker takes them. They're good for such a tiny camera, don't you think? Sorry the Brewsters snubbed your Jesus. Practice the tiger and the cheetah before you do your Buddha. The beasts come first. Remember me to everybody. DHL. Letter 80 to the Honorary Dorothy Brett. Via Merenda, Sao Paulo Mosciano, Scandici, Florence. Saturday, 15th May 1926. Dear Brett, you will be drawing near to America now. I hope the sea has been decent and the landing will be all right. Shall be waiting to hear. We've taken the top half of this old villa out in the country, about 7 miles from Florence, crowning a little hilltop in the Tuscan style. Since the rent is only 3,000 liras for a year, which is £25, I took the place for a year. Even if we go away, we can always keep it as a pied-à-terre and let friends live in it. It is nice, looking far out over the Arno Valley and very nice country, real country, pine woods around. I am reading up my Etruscans, and if I get along with them, shall go round to Perugia and Volterra, Chiusi, Orvieto, Tarquinia. Meanwhile, we can sit still and spend little. There's only one family of foreigners near, Wilkinsons, sort of village arty people who went round with a puppet show, quite nice, and not at all intrusive. Then the tram is only 1.5 miles at Vingone, and takes us into Florence in half an hour. This is a region with no foreigners. The only thing to do is sit still and let events work out. I count this as a sort of interval. I shall wait to hear how you find the ranch and how it treats you. I do hope there'll be somebody nice to go and live there too and help. You cannot be there alone. I often dream of the Azul, Aaron and Timsy. They seem to call one back, perhaps even more strongly even than the place. I don't know what is in me, that I simply can't think of coming back to America just now. Something in the whole continent that repulses me. X wrote me. He expects his second baby in a fortnight. It may be here by now. But he is just the same, sort of underhand. I can't like him. Earl found your papers. I have them here. I won't send them to the ranch till I know you are there. We've had horrid weather, then 5 days sun, now again grey and going to rain. I never knew a spring so impotent, as if it couldn't emerge. Knopf is printing David in America, so there should be time for your cover. If you'd like to see them, write to her, Mrs. Blanche Knopf, 730 Fifth Avenue. Things feel a bit dismal with the strike in England and so on. There's nothing to do but wait a bit and see if one's spirits will really rouse up and give one a direction. I still mistrust Earl in his letter to me about India. Remember me to everybody. It seems so far. I don't know why. DHL.